Welcome aboard for another video.
Thanks, Conductor Keith. The purpose of this video is to unbox and have a very detailed look at Accucraft's brand new 13-ton Shay. And I am a happy fellow because here I'm at FedEx at the Ottawa airport because they came on Friday, but I wasn't home and I needed to pay an import fee. So I drove from Casselman into Ottawa to the Ottawa airport to get my Shay because I couldn't wait another couple days. The excitement builds. Inside this box was this box, which I've started to unwrap. And this assembly instruction, maybe it comes without the trucks on. Yeah, so we'll see. These look like the coupling pins. Yep, this is the coupling pins, the couplers. There's a smokestack. Here's some Allen keys and syringes. I always like getting syringes. I wear out syringes fairly quick. And here's the roof. It's heavy. Gloves so we don't burn our fingers. Yeah, all in all, this thing is packed extremely well to keep it safe. Boiler test certificate, gas tank test certificate. Now the thing of beauty starts to emerge. I see we've got the attention of the friar. Now he's interested in the proceedings. Okay, so this box at the end here contains none other than trucks. Trucks. The truck is sprung. Look at the gear action. Look at that. One thing that's really cool about this particular Shay is you'll see that it's got little grub screws down in there and little divots. So you can adjust the trucks to either 45mm gauge track or 32mm gauge track. I run both. Outdoors, I can use it with all of my 32mm gauge stuff and all of my 45mm gauge stuff. I love this option. I just absolutely love it. Oh my goodness, it is gorgeous. It's heavy. There's wood on the end there. It's, oh, look at that. The Lima Locomotive and Machine Company, Lima, Ohio. It is gorgeous and heavy. So I'm going to put the trucks on and report back. It comes with the option of the diamond stack or the straight stack. I wonder which one I'll keep. For now, I guess the diamond one because it's already on there. Although it's coal burning, so maybe the straight stack? The simulated coal load looks awesome. So it's more appropriately a straight stack because of the coal as opposed to, I mean, it doesn't need a spark arrestor. But this sure does look cool. It looks super cool. I think I want to put that one back on. And this means I might have to go mucking around with this. That's just a cover anyway for your gas tank and water bath for your gas. And I see there's a spot right here where it's probably to put some batteries and an RC receiver because I will want to add RC to this locomotive. So a future project might be to stack that up with wood. Although that coal looks nice. Oh, damn them for giving me this choice. Damn them. Oh, my common sense prevails. I like the coal. I'm going to keep the straight stack. And over here, this is just going to be part of the parts yard. Of course, we have Lord Michael, who is the chairman of the railway, and he has his magnet in his foot, and he stands on other locomotives. So now is the test. I believe this is steel. It is steel. Look at that. Oh, so Lord Michael and Vihan, the driver, will be able to operate this locomotive. Look at that. And here we have extra stick-on things, but they're nice brass pieces. And it's Shay Geared Locomotive, Sole Agents, Gibson Battle and Company, Kent Street, Sydney. See, this locomotive is Australian. It's a Shay that went to Australia. I suppose in the backstory of my fictional Pencross Railway of Eastern Ontario here, I can always have this locomotive be purchased from Australia. These are too nice not to use. This is a book of assembly instructions. Now mine came ready to run, well, as ready to run as it can with the trucks off, but these are the detailed assembly instructions. I'm glad I have this. I wish this came with every locomotive because I've had to enact repairs on my 13-year-old American mainline by Accucraft 060, and having these instructions would be really handy. And, you know, no doubt something's going to break, something's going to wear out, so no doubt in the future this is going to be extremely handy. Of course, it also has a regular operating manual. I have read through the manual. It's all good. Good manual. course, they're good at building locomotives. They're not necessarily good at spelling, because that's supposed to be burner. Carefully slide the gas jet nozzle with the gas line from the burner. And this sheet is how to put the trucks on. So we'll give that a whirl right now. Before I go any further, this is the Pencross Railway of Eastern Ontario. So naturally, I need to make it so. Ah, there, that's better. Pencross Railway, now I feel like it's mine. My friend Steve in the UK and his son Andy in Singapore 3D printed that sign. There's one on the other side of the locomotive as well. I wanted to name this locomotive Winnie. Winnie, short for Winifred, was what everybody called her. And she was my mom. She died when I was 9 years old, back in the 70s. This is not exactly where it probably should go, but you know, and the locomotive is starting to look a bit busy with all the signs, but I don't care. It's my engine. Lord Michael's a very busy kind of guy anyway. And things look good on this side too. We don't often see this side of Shay's because they're not the action parts. But I really like both sides of the Shay. And so sometimes I'm going to run it like this. So while I'm here, we might as well do a walk around of the locomotive and start with this side. As I mentioned earlier, the trucks are sprung. We've got some nice detail here. There's just nice detail everywhere. Down here is the blowdown valve. Just turn it like that. It's a blowdown underneath the sight glass. And you look up there, you see the brass piece. That is the bottom of the blowdown valve. That's where it will blow down out from. Continuing around the back, we have our sand fillers. Of course, they're fake, but they look nice. This is a real piece of wood. And the coupling pin and the coupler is made of metal, of course. And coming around this side, we have all the gearing for the trucks. That's geared off of this 2-cylinder engine. There's a toolbox here. It's unfortunate it doesn't open. I would have loved that to be lidded in an actual toolbox. My friend Keith on Vancouver Island, there's a playlist in my YouTube channel of videos from his railway. And you'll see that he's very handy, and he's built a toolbox on his earlier Shay. And that actually opens, and he keeps the coupler pieces and whatnot in there. So everything looks Jim dandy. There's, again, a lot of nice detail. Here's a bell. There's no clapper. That's okay. And there's a nice simulated whistle piece. Come around the front and you'll see the offset. The boiler on Shay's was offset to the left so that the engine could be to the right, and it was a balanced weight that way. Now, interestingly enough, I think 5 Shays, some small number of Shays went to South America where it was opposite. The cliffside where they operated, the operator wanted it opposite. So there was only a tiny handful of Shays built with the engine on the left and the boiler on the right. In the life of a locomotive, God knows how many times they've been rebuilt. I'll just now post a picture of the real thing. No doubt been rebuilt numerous times, different fuels, who knows, but here's the picture. Well, here you can see where they actually placed that importer's plaque back on the water tank, and you'll see that the builder's plaque on the smoke box is missing. So let's just flip up the roof there and have a little look. What do we got in here? I've mentioned that this comes out and is a water bath for the butane tank. Now, one thing I really do like, I'm just going to take that off so there's more light. One thing I really do like is this is the butane control, but it's dressed up to look like a brake stand. So that's nice. Here we have the forward and reverse lever. We have a pressure gauge, and we have the steam regulator right there. And again, down there is the blowdown valve, just below the sight glass. This, let's see, this is where you fill the water into the boiler, but I want to see, it looks like it is, yes, an actual good old valve. So I can put water into the boiler while it is still hot and under pressure. I can top up the boiler through the good old valve. That's lovely. And here's a 60 PSI safety valve. In this rather awkward little position is the lubricator. Now, I like lubricators where I can get off with my finger, but that one I can't. So I might see about changing this out with something that I can unscrew more easily with my finger. I prefer a drain on the bottom of the lubricator that you just turn and drain out the water, excess water and stuff. This one does not have a drain. Minor complaint, I would prefer it, which means I'll have to use a syringe provided. They did provide this piece to go on the syringe, so I will be able to go down in there and easily suck water out, so that's not so bad. This locomotive has clearly been test run. It's got the dregs of steam oil in the displacement lubricator there. I found getting the cap on, again, a little bit awkward even with the screwdriver at first. So not too chuffed about the placement of that. But at the same time, I can see why they've laid things out as they did, and I'll get to that in a minute. I mentioned my friend Keith on Vancouver Island. His Shay is a much older model, and it's got the holes there, but it doesn't have the ring. And I remember one time he said, you know, it's always some difficulty lighting the engine. And so I just stuck my finger over one of the holes to choke it, and it lit up just fine. And I said, you need to fabricate, and he's very good at fabricating, a ring, because this allows you to choke it off a bit. It's got a nut on the top. I've got this tool. It's just an easy matter of me coming down here and deciding the placement and loosening or tightening it. And of course, you know, you'll have this, depending on the weather, the temperature, humidity, the whole 9 yards, even the type of butane you're using, sometimes there's a better setting. And speaking of butane, you light this locomotive through the smoke box door, which is normal for Accucraft products. One thing I do like about this one is it's got a magnet here, so it closes with a magnet. That's nice. Another thing to notice when we're looking in here is you see there's a plate, metal plate there, behind which there's insulation. And if you look in there, you'll see that between the boiler and the outer shroud, there's insulation as well. So now I'm going to mention the most brilliant thing about this locomotive, and that's the tiny boiler. The real one had a teeny weeny boiler. Now, you know, you can't scale down physics, so you can't have a boiler this small on a live steam model engine like this and have it run for longer than, you know, 8 minutes. So what they've done is they've put this huge boiler in the cab. Now, the real cab of this locomotive was quite open, except for where the engine was quite open. And there would be the back head of the boiler down there. So what they've done is they've built this giant big boiler, and this is part of it. The boiler in there is part of it. So that way you can have lots and lots of water. I think that's a great idea. I should mention that overall this locomotive is large. It comes in at 1 to 20.3 scale. So it's narrow gauge even on the 45mm gauge track. This Mammon Bolton, while not fine scale, is based on 1 to 19 scale. That'll give you an idea of how small this little diesel would have been, because this 13-ton Shay is not very large in the real world. And if you go over here and you look, this is 1 to 19 scale Swift 16 wagons from the UK. And look, that tells you how small these wagons were. Large scale trains are funny because you take the 25-ton 1 to 24 G scale Pico locomotive here, and you compare it to the 1 to 20.3. I mean, this would be much smaller in stature. Probably the cab height of the real one would be the height of this. You know what I mean? So, but we large scalers tend to run things together anyway. All right, we just put you on the flat car there. That looks good. So, why the Shay? Well, since I was a very young kid, I've been absolutely in love with Shay locomotives. I mean, over the moon in love with them. I rode behind one at Fort Steele and just absolutely was in love. So why, you ask, given that I've been in live steam for so long, have I waited till now to get a Shay, a live steam Shay? I'll have to tell you that the last time Accucraft came out with the Shay was the large Shay. And you know, these things aren't cheap, right? So I was like, oh, should I buy it? Should I not buy it? Should I buy it? Should I not buy it? And by the time I decided I was going to buy it, it was sold out. And a couple of times since then, I put bids on used ones only to be outbid. And once a guy put one up online for sale. He had a good price. It looked like it was lightly used. And I emailed him as soon as the ad went up, and he said, oh, already gone. So anyway, serendipitously though, this one is green. Now it comes in green and black, and just recently they've announced a third color, which is black with a Russian blue boiler, and the picture of it on the website looks absolutely beautiful. But I want green because the Pencross Railway of Eastern Ontario's corporate colors are green. Now, there's various greens in use because the company hasn't quite settled on the green yet, but it's largely because it is a small outfit that is always short on money, and that's the backstory. But I knew I had to have a green one as soon as they announced that it was coming out in green. This thing was announced about 2 years ago or so, I think. And, you know, we had the tail end of COVID and all that. And then there was, after that, the steel shortage, worldwide steel shortage. So there was delay after delay after delay after delay. and it seems like a really long haul. All that's totally instantly forgotten the moment I laid my eyes on this. It's a beautiful locomotive. I'm absolutely delighted to have it. The very next video I post on my channel will be the first run of this locomotive, so stay tuned for that. I hope you found this video useful.